We've all heard that masturbation is a natural part of life. It's something we're often told is completely normal, even healthy. But what if I told you that there's a point where this so-called normal habit becomes a trap? A trap that not only affects your mind, but your entire life. How many times a day can you indulge without crossing the line into addiction? What if you simply can't stop? Let's answer these important questions and discover why it might be time to rethink this seemingly harmless act. Before we get started, I want to address something. Yes, the cover may have seemed a bit exaggerated, but it was necessary to grab your attention, because this is a 21st century issue that's weakening both young people and adults alike, slowly stripping away their willpower and self-control. In today's video, you'll understand what happens to your brain, both scientifically and philosophically. We'll also explore what ancient wisdom, especially from the Stoics, has to teach us about this all-too-common vice. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our content. Now let's get into it. Modern medicine tells us that masturbation is normal. In fact, it's not just humans who engage in it. Even dogs and other mammals have been observed doing so. But this wasn't always the case. In the past, it was considered immoral, especially for men, because of the belief that wasting seed was a failure to fulfill reproductive duties. For women, the fear was that they would find pleasure in themselves and drift away from relationships with men. On top of that, there was a physical fear that masturbation could cause illness, even insanity. But let's fast forward to the present. What do we know about it today, especially when it comes to men who struggle with insomnia? We know that masturbation induces sleep. The French Institute of Health and Medical Research has shown that after orgasm, the male brain deactivates sexual desire. This is due to the cerebral cortex, the part of your brain responsible for conscious thought, going into a rest state. This explains why men often fall asleep after sex. So what's the problem? It seems harmless, right? Here's the trap. Masturbation releases dopamine, that feel-good hormone that calms us, relieves stress, and makes us feel rewarded. And it's so powerful that some people become addicted to this rush. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders even classifies hypersexuality disorder, which includes excessive masturbation, under obsessive-compulsive disorders. What starts as an innocent stress reliever can spiral into an addiction that controls you. It can lead to compulsive behaviors like pornography addiction, seeking out sex with multiple partners, and even dangerous or risky encounters. What's really happening in your brain is that it's adapting to the release of dopamine. Each time you masturbate, your brain craves more dopamine to experience the same level of pleasure you felt the first time. Over time, you'll find that you need to keep escalating just to feel satisfied, much like a smoker, an overeater, or an alcoholic. As the brain experiences this oversaturation of dopamine, it starts to block receptors to protect itself. This means you'll keep trying to chase that high, but never quite get the same reward. The more you try, the more frustrated you become, and the cycle continues. So what do the Stoics have to say about all of this? You might be wondering how a philosophy from thousands of years ago could relate to modern-day problems like addiction. Well, the Stoics, thinkers like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, had a lot to say about controlling desires and passions. They viewed pleasure not as something inherently bad, but as something that must be understood and mastered. For them, it wasn't about repressing desires, but rather using them as a tool for self-awareness and growth. Epicurus, a great influence on Stoic thought, said that true happiness doesn't come from indulging in endless pleasure. Instead, it comes from mastering those desires. The Stoics teach us that self-control is the key to real freedom. When we become slaves to our impulses, whether it's food, alcohol, or even masturbation, we lose the ability to lead a virtuous and meaningful life. We lose touch with our true selves, our highest principles, and the natural order of the universe. By constantly giving in to pleasure, we create emotional chaos within us: guilt, shame, dissatisfaction. I know someone who was once caught in this cycle of compulsive masturbation. They would feel a momentary escape, only to be hit by waves of guilt and frustration afterward. But after discovering the teachings of the Stoics, they began practicing mindfulness and self-regulation. Over time, they found that true happiness came not from chasing fleeting pleasures, but from mastering their desires. Now, they live a life of peace, driven by purpose and free from the chains of momentary urges. The lesson here is simple. True satisfaction doesn't come from indulging in our desires. It comes from mastering them. So, my friend, what are you doing with your life? Do you believe that spending your time on these short-lived pleasures will bring you confidence, success, or even attract meaningful relationships? If you're honest with yourself, you know the answer. In the comments below, I want you to write, "I am a powerful person. I have control over my mind. I choose to do what improves me, not what holds me back." Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video if it resonated with you, and make sure to subscribe for more life-changing content. Together, let's master our minds and unlock our fullest potential.